So good evening. I'm Meenakshi. Yesterday, I had actually taken a session about IELTS. That is only two sections. I had taken only about two sections. One was writing, and the other was speaking. So before I get into listening and reading in this session, I want to just give a small recap of what I told yesterday. So as I told, IELTS will be your English language test that is actually used for any student or any person who's going to go and work in abroad places, because it will be a pass that will actually tell you that okay, this person is knows enough English to communicate in the country. So it is a language proficiency test for any student or any person who has to work, who wants to go abroad and who wants to be there. So with this test, they will actually provide you the visa for migration process. Your IELTS is very important. This test will tell them how capable you are enough to be in that particular country, how you can communicate with the people, because English is one of the most very known languages to everyone in any country. So this test will actually let them know how much you can manage in their particular country. So IELTS will be accepted by various countries like Australia, Canada, UK, Ireland, New Zealand, and in US. So in US, you have to write in all these Ireland, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and UK, all these five countries will accept your IELTS mark. You needn't submit your GRE and TOEFL. But in US, you have to submit your GRE and TOEFL. If in case you haven't written the TOEFL, you can write your IELTS and convert it to TOEFL, and then you can submit the GRE and TOEFL in any university in the US. So when comparatively, which is better, IELTS or TOEFL, I would say IELTS, because TOEFL has a lot of sections that you really have to compete and do, and IELTS isn't like that. It's comparatively easy when compared to TOEFL. So in TOEFL, I would actually there would be 6 sections in speaking, and then there are a lot of sections in reading and writing, and you'll have very less amount of time, like you'll only have 45 seconds or 30 seconds to complete it. So you will obviously have this one, you'll not be conscious enough to do it properly, because you'll be scared how you can do it. So but when compared to IELTS, you have enough time to do any of these sections. It's just that you have to manage your time, and if you know it and if you can do it, then you can crack at least an 8 out of 10 for to IELTS. So there are actually 4 sections in IELTS: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. There are 2 modules, academic and general. So what is this academic and general is that academic tests are written by students who want to go to a who want to go to a university or any professional registration or any work that they want to do abroad. So IELTS academic will be taken by a student who has completed at least 2 years of work, or maybe if they have if they want, like who's worked for an amount of time and who wants to go to abroad after their work. So academic will be taken by those people, and general test will be taken for migration process for students who have passed out 12th, or who are going to do their even their school studies in abroad, or UG studies in abroad, or even MS as soon as your UG is over. So those students can write their IELTS general. So the difference in academic and general is that only your reading and your writing and reading will differ. Otherwise, everything else is same. Speaking and listening are same for both the examinations. So why IELTS? Like I said before, this examination will let the people who are going to provide your visa, or the person in a university or any person in abroad, they'll know that you're capable enough to be in the country. You won't have any communication issues with your IELTS score. So they'll understand that you have good understanding and strong command of English. So that is why IELTS. So as I said, what and all countries except IELTS is Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Ireland, and UK. And you can use USA also. So USA, you have to use the IELTS TOEFL converter. You cannot write your TOEFL and then convert it to IELTS. You can convert your IELTS to TOEFL, but not vice versa. So in US also there are universities that accept your IELTS mark. You needn't convert them to your TOEFL mark. They will accept your IELTS mark as such. So it's just that you have to browse which university will give you the seat for IELTS score. One such university that I know is Northeastern University. There are many other universities who will accept this mark. So there are two types of tests you can take: computer delivered and paper. So paper is that for both the tests, you'll have speaking 2 days before your listening, reading, and writing. So the only difference is that you'll write this in a computer. You'll do your listening, reading, writing in the computer, and listening, reading, writing will be in your pen paper. One thing you have to notice in pen paper is that you shouldn't erase and write. You have to write all words. I know that every answer cannot be perfect. No one is perfect to write everything without erasing. You can do it, but make sure that your presentation is very neat, because presentation matters a lot in pen paper test. So but the only difference is that your this is one such difference, that is you have to present. There will be a presentation problem in pen paper, and in computer delivered you have no problem like that. Second thing is that you have your but in computer delivered test, there might be, you won't have all these typo in computer. You have to know the spellings properly for you to type all the points or any paragraph for writing or for reading or listening, whatever fill in the blank you have, whatever you listen to it, you have to write the blank according to, you have to write your own, you have to write the spellings properly. You won't have any typo. So this is the difference for these two. The other difference is that you will get your answer, you will get your result as soon as in 5 days for a computer delivered test. And for pen paper test, you'll get it in 13 days. Your computer delivered test, you'll get both the tests. You'll get your answer, your result in a message, and you'll get your IELTS card in your post. So the time for every section is the same. So as I said, speaking will take part 2 days before your listening, reading, and writing. Listening, reading, and writing will take part on the same day. It's a 2 hours 45 minutes test. So now coming to the modules. So I said there are 4 modules: listening, reading, and listening, reading, speaking, and writing. So you can score up to 9 in out of 10 in IELTS. The minimum score is 6.5, and every band should be above 6. Any university in abroad, they accept a score of 6.5 because they don't because the 6.5 will actually give them an idea that you can manage, you can survive in the country. So a score of 6.5 with each band 6 will be more than enough. The only difference is that there are universities in Ireland. If in case you want to go for a scholarship, and if your college mark, that is your GPA, isn't that good enough, you want to increase your score somehow, then you can score a lot more in IELTS. You can retake the IELTS. You can make sure you get at least an 8 or 8.5 in IELTS. So this is according to the scoreboard. I'll come again to that. So the next is, as I said, listening and speaking are same for IELTS academic and general. So now the speaking section will be, it will be 2 days. Nowadays, the speaking section is 2 days before your other 3 sections. So the total test time is 2 hours and 45 minutes. So I will actually tell about speaking and writing now, and then go back to listening and reading, so that I can just sum up what I did yesterday. So writing, as I said, writing, you have 60 minutes. You have 2 tasks, task 1 and 2. There are 2 differences, that is academic and general will have 2 different tasks. So first, your task 1 in academic will be, you will have to write a letter about any complaint or about what you feel or about your opinion to any situation or a company, or what the question is about. You have to describe it. Whereas in general IELTS, your task 1 is about, they will give you a diagram or a table or a pie chart or any chart or any a picture, and you have to describe about it. Make sure it's within 200 words and not less than 150 words. try to learn more descriptive words when you have free time. Read newspapers, read magazines, and try to develop the English knowledge you have. Get to learn new words, like keep it like a point that you have to learn at least 5 new words in your whenever you have free time. So because of these words, the words that you read and learn every time, it will be very useful for you when you write any when you use all these for your tasks. So it can be more descriptive for you and you can write a lot. So for task one in academic, it's a letter that you have to write either about a problem in your office, or either your team lead is improper, or whether you have any time management problem in the office, or whether you have to write to any corporation that your city is improper, or some any letter is for academic. And in that of general, IELTS general, task one will be, you will be given an image and you have to explain it. An image can be a flow chart or any table or a diagram. They can give a random a diagram saying the students of so and so age, how much for how many hours did they use Instagram, and they'll give you a small chart bar graph, and you have to explain about it. You shouldn't directly explain how many students of this age use so many hours, like that. You have to explain about what is Instagram and why so many people are addicted to it and why they use it for so many hours. Make it more creative and elaborate for them to understand. Like, you can elaborate, but make sure it's only within 200 words. Next is your second task. That is where you have to write an essay about an opinion or a problem. That is same for both the sections, both academic and general. So now if you're writing any essay about, like, say that is a problem, like what I got for my IELTS is that they asked me that, what do you think about cultural differences? So do you support that, or are you against that, something like that. And there are people who really got about few essays on how the nation is being present now. There are chances for you to get about political questions, or about what you think about the environment, or what you think about your personal skills, or something like that, where you have to write your opinion. Your opinion will matter a lot, because task 2 has so much value than that of task 1. So the you should actually time management is very 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 important for IELTS, because mainly in writing, whether you're taking a pen, paper, or a computer, time management is important. Keep a note of the time, but you should be relaxed, because the more you note the time, the more you get tensed, and you might not write the content what you wanted to write. So just keep a note of the time, because don't take more than 20 minutes for your task 1, because task 2 has more value than that of task 1. So you can start writing. When you write your, like, when you're writing your task 1, make sure you don't write and erase a lot. Make points, and with that develop your sentences. Write it in paragraphs. Use 3 to 4 paragraphs and make it more elaborative and more nice to read. When you're typing, make sure you're familiar with the spellings. Write it in like 15 minutes, and then for 5 minutes take leisure time to see every single word, whether it has continuity, whether you haven't missed any word, whether there's no spelling mistakes or that. So this would be I would suggest all of you to time. I would tell for writing, what you have to see is time management, your use of words, and you should have at least 10 minutes of time to read both your task 1 and task 2, to know the mistakes. So, as I said, your task 1 will be your personal responses, or an informal or a semi formal letter. So, it depends. For academic, it's a letter, and for general, it is describing a diagram or a flow chart or anything. So, task 2 is that you have to write about your opinions on an issue. You have to write relevant content. For example, if they ask, why take computer science engineering, why is it more important in this current part of current times, you have to not write about computers, and you shouldn't write exactly about what you feel. You should write why it is making a very big impact in the surroundings today, why computer science engineering is very important for everyone. You have to to explain every single point that what you feel, and you shouldn't write on irrelevant points. For example, if you are talking about any particular topic, like say you're talking about the nation, and you start only talking about a particular politician in that, then that makes no sense. You have to talk only about the nation entirely and not focus on any politician's deeds and indeeds. So that's how it's supposed to work. So task 2 is more important than task 1. So try to make sure that you fill both the tasks in the given time. 60 minutes, 50 minutes, try to write both the tasks. Take less time for task 1 and more time for task 2. Take 10 minutes time to read the entire content, and where you have to write for both pen, paper, and computer based. Know your spellings, know if you're writing the correct, if your sentence has a flow. Try to improve your English with this. So this is the difference between your academic and your general writing test. So I said you'll have a diagram or a table, or you have to write a letter. So this is how it is. So make sure that your writing style is a bit professional and not like how you do it in school, because you will be judged with this. This English will judge you like how you can be in the country. So every single section over here matters. So make sure that it is very 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 relevant, than that than not not having all points that actually sound funny. So next I will talk about speaking. Speaking is for 10 to 15 minutes. Nowadays speaking is will happen only 2 days before you take up your writing, reading, and your listening. So in speaking, it's a face-to-face interview. You will have an interview with a person, an examiner. So you will be asked. You'll have 3 parts in the entire interview. So the speaking, many people will actually believe that speaking will matter a lot in IELTS, because if you talk with a good accent and if you talk without having any stammer in between, they will think that you are capable enough to manage in the place. No, speaking is just one important part, but the other 3 parts are equally important. With only with speaking, they will never judge your IES, because speaking standard score is 7.5 for any person who is attempting it. So even you talk with any accent, they will give you only a score of 7.5. You can score more if you use more words that you understand, like you have learned. But still, as far as I have noticed, 7.5 is the maximum score that any student has got. So I'll go into this section and I'll tell you how all the 4 sections are important in this. So first, part 1 is where you will have questions about yourself. They'll first tell you to introduce about yourself, and they'll tell you what you're doing, how many people are there in your family, what's your father's business, like what will you do after you complete your UG, and why you're taking the PG. And then they'll tell how is it with like, do you go to your father's office, or do you know how, what about your friends, how are you with your friends. And that's how they ask. They will ask questions only about you, so that you will get the flow of talking. When you start talking about yourself, you'll get the flow of talking. And then the second part is that you will be given a particular topic, and you will be given 2 minutes, that is 130 to 2 minutes, to write what you think about that particular topic. I was given a topic saying, what is your favorite show and why you like that show. So they will ask questions why we like the show, and they'll keep on be asking questions like that. Like they'll create new questions once you start talking. Then there were people who are asked about their tourist place, that which was the best place that they have visited. So with the what do you like, how many places have you visited, what is the best place you like, why you like it, like what is so fascinating about that place. For me, what they asked was why that show is very famous. Do I see any shows like that makes me think a lot, like shows where they have quiz, or any like all students. There are many shows where all students take part. So they ask me if I see shows like that, or they ask me if I see shows that has only entertainment. They will ask questions on the topic that you choose. They'll give you actually around 5 to 6 topics. You can talk about your tourist place, or you can talk about your pet, or you can talk about any show, or you can talk about your favorite food, or anything, any topic. They'll, out of 6, you have to choose one. So you have to be ready with the answers. You have to make points why you like the show. Do not stop at any point. Keep on be talking whatever comes to your mind that is relevant to what the topic is. You should have the flow of talking, and that is when, because this is a recorded speaking session, the examiner is not going to score you. They are going to only record it, and they will send it to another person who's going to score for you. So what you have to do is you have to keep on be talking that is relevant to it. You can, when you're talking about a show, you can talk about another show that you've seen like 5 years back, or you can talk about something that is interesting about the show or a person who participated in the show. You can develop stories. Part 3 is that it will be something related to part 2. That is what I'll explain. Like they'll ask questions that will actually make you think from your point of view. What they asked me was, do you think having a joint family is good or not? Why is it good? Why is it bad? Why do you like it? Like they'll ask questions about that. One of my friends were asked that, what do you think about, do you like to have a public transport or a private transport, or what is your feeling about it? Few people were asked about what would you do to make the nation a better place. Like there are questions like this, where your opinion matter a lot. So this is how speaking works. So as I said, don't try to use accent, and don't try to fake yourself when you're going for speaking. Talk how you talk normally. Just talk fluently with all whatever you want to tell. Just don't get tense. Talk fluently and pronounce the words very clearly. Don't swallow the last few letters of your words. Pronounce it clearly. Be very bold enough to answer, because speaking will be the easiest when compared to the other three sections. Because the other three speaking is, you won't have this time, you won't be very tense to know about the time. The others is where you have to know about the time, so you will be calm when you're doing speaking. So I would say that speaking was very easy when compared to those two, compared to the other three sessions. So this is the second, like I told, first one is about your introduction. Second is about where you have to talk about any particular topic that the examiner gives, and you have to tell appropriate things. You have to talk for 2 minutes non-stop. They'll keep on be asking you questions, answer according to it. If in case they don't answer questions, then develop whatever you said from the first. Don't stammer. Keep on be talking something or the other that is relevant. Part 3, as I said, you have to give your opinion, and you have to explain about it. So this is the scoring board for IELTS. Like you get 39 to 40. That is, this is for every single section. Like you take listening and reading, you have 40 questions each, and you get all the 40 right, you get a score of 9. You get 37 or 38 right, you get 8.5. So this is how your IELTS score board will take place. Everyone will at least get a score of 6 to 6.5. It is advisable to get a score of 6.5 and more for you to apply for any country. So as I told yesterday, how to apply is that you can just type IELTS ORG. 1 minute. This is the IELTS ORG site where you can book the slot for your computer delivered test, or for your pen paper test, or for your academic or your general test. You have to choose these two slots. It's a 3-hour exam, but you will write only for 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's 60, 60, and 30. So you needn't worry about that. So the exam fees for IELTS is 14,000 for now. Like as of 1st of April 2020, it's 14,000. You can cancel your examination fees within 5 weeks, and it will be 25% will be minus. And if you have chosen the wrong IELTS exam, you have to pay rupees 3,000 extra to change your IELTS, whatever IELTS you have taken. And then you if you haven't appeared for the exam, you wouldn't get a fees, you won't get the fees back. So I have told the myths about IELTS yesterday. That is, different countries need different IELTS. No, it is not like that. All countries accept it. Even US accepts your IELTS mark. It's just that you have to convert it using a TOEFL converter. You don't need preparation courses. You can prepare by yourself. It is true. You can prepare by yourself because this is basic English. Unless and until you want to make yourself even even more strong for speaking, reading, writing, you can actually go to courses. They will guide you how you can write, because this normal English exam is something you've been doing from your primary school. So you will be confident enough. It's just that you need to know few words and build up your vocabulary and your grammar and all. So it's not that you can take the test once. You can take the test n number of times. But one thing to remember, your IELTS score is valid only for 2 years. And if in case you've written it now and you're going after 2 years, you have to retake the test, and the test that you've retaken will only be taken into consideration and not the test that you've written before. The next is that you've got your test score, and you can actually do a lot of practice tests. That is your wish. If you have got your you can do how many ever practice tests you want. There are so many practice tests available in the net, so you can do it as much as you can. I would recommend all of you to do listening test a lot in the net, because the more you, because people who are talking, the audio that you hear. Okay, I'll come back to listening again. I'll come back to listening first. I'll complete this. You need not use a Western accent to pass speaking. So speaking is not the most important part. All the four parts are evenly equal, because your speaking will make them know that you are capable enough to communicate. But for your writing, your reading and listening will let them know that you know English properly. That is, your use of words and the way you make sentences and how much you are confident enough matters in the other three tests. Quality matters more than speed. It's not like that. Speed matters equally, because time management is very important. The speeder you write, the more time you get to check what you write. 7 is important for you to pass IELTS. No, it's not 7, it's 6.5 with each band of 6. Now I am going to explain about the listening section and the reading section. First, I'll tell about listening, and then I'll go to reading. So listening is basically a 60-minute session. You will have 4 conversations, and with the 4 conversations, you will write the entire listening examination. You will have 40 questions. Each question will have a value of 1 mark. So the 4 sections in listening are a conversation between 2 speakers, a monologue, a conversation of 4 speakers, and a lecture. So let me go for the listening test. So you actually have to know one thing. Your audio will be heard only once. You have to listen carefully and write according to that. Time management is also very important. Like, you will be like, I'll first listen to the entire audio and then write the answers. No, read the questions first, then get to know, read the questions first, make sure that you're ready with the blank, and you start hearing your audio. You have to be speed enough to fill in all the blanks. So let me go for the first section. And one more thing, try to listen to a lot of foreign speakers or authors or anyone in YouTube, or just type for IELTS listening test practice and do it, or get to listen to a lot of lectures. Because if you're going to study in the abroad, you won't have teachers over, like whoever over here who teaches clearly. Like, if we don't understand, teachers over here in India will teach in a language that we understand. For example, we can take our system in any college in Chennai. You don't understand, they will teach immediately in Tamil. But it isn't like that in abroad. You don't understand, it's all our fate. You have to understand somehow, because all the professors over there are going to talk in English. They will have an accent. We haven't listened to any lectures or any professors talking in an English accent for so many years. So get a practice for that. Start listening to all lectures that are in online. Get to know how they pronounce the words. Try to listen to the words what they pronounce, and get it would be better for you, because there are people who cannot get the flow of them, because they'll talk very fast and with an accent, and that we will be difficult to cope up with that. So I suggest all of you to listen to as many as lectures whenever you are free, so that you will gain knowledge and you will actually understand what a professor is coming to tell. So first is that you will have 2 people talking about a situation. Let it be a person who's working in a company. 2 people, they are talking about the problems they're facing, and you will have the questions like fill in the blanks or multiple choice questions or true or false or anything, they will actually write the conversation and leave gaps in between, and you have to fill it. Your audio will be heard only once, and whatever, you first read the question and then go to the audio. You will have the speaker will go a bit slowly, but you have to cope up with you have to listen to every single word they pronounce, because it will be in a different accent. The second section is a monologue about everyday situation. It will be like a lecture, more of a lecture. Like a person will be talking about what is happening in that particular country. It can be any person, but mostly it will be a person who's in the abroad, because they would actually test us. They will want to know how much we understand a person with an how much we understand from what a person with an accent talks. So we have to listen to that and answer it. So the third section is you will have four speakers, so they will talk a bit fast and different advanced vocabulary, and they will be more they'll use a lot of words and the sentences will be big. You might not have the continuity, but what you have to do is focus on what they're talking, listen to it, and then answer the questions. The fourth is that it is about an academic subject. They will take a subject and they will describe about it. It can either be an electrical subject or any computer science, any subject. It can either be something related to computers or anything about electricals or any instrumentation, any subject, and they will have no break in the middle. They will just tell one entire paragraph and give us questions, and we have to answer it. So 40 questions, and every question is 1 point. So there are questions like multiple choice questions, short answers. Like for example, if they're talking about some situation and one person gets to give a 2 to 3 word answer, and then you have to get to know about it. You have to write it, and you have to complete the sentence. There might be a word or anything that you have to complete the sentence. They will actually give you a flow chart. Like they will be explaining how exactly clay is being made. You have to listen to the entire flow chart clearly, and then you have to fill it. The flow chart won't be like how it's in the diagram representation. A person will actually be telling the process entirely. You have to notice where you have to fill in what in the flow chart and then do it. You have to label the diagram. It can either be a human eye or ear or anything. It can even be your human body system, what they have given, and they'll keep explaining, and you have to number it. There will be classifications and matching. Classification and matching is that it will be divided into two. Suppose do's and don'ts. A person is talking about a trek, and they'll tell you about the do's and don'ts. Then you have to clearly listen to what are the do's, what are the don'ts, and then fill it. The recording is played only once. Read the question thoroughly and then go for listening. Time is very, very important. Do not go without, do not listen to the audio without reading the questions, because you may not listen to the audio correctly, and then you might lose track and you can't listen to the audio once again. So this is for listening, and now I'm going to tell about reading. So reading is again 30 minutes. You have three passages with 40 questions. So for both reading, speaking, and writing, I recommend all of you to read a lot of newspapers, because there might be few tricky words or questions that we don't understand um, in the passage or something. So before identifying, you have to learn, you have to know the flow of the entire passage or something, and then you have to do it. So you have to practice a lot of tests. You have to keep on be reading any articles or any passages that's being on the net. So what are the type of questions will be here is you'll have multiple choice questions. You will have questions like true or false, or you will have questions like what is the opinion of the speaker in this passage, and you'll have all the four options that actually match the passage, but you have to read it very clearly for you to know which is the correct answer. There'll be short answer questions. There'll be a flow chart again. You'll have sentence completion or anything. You have to match the sentence endings. That is, you have your entire sentence will be of different, and you have to match according to it. You'll have so many questions based on that. So your first section is that it will contain relevant topics. Like it can be about anything. like let it be your cultural differences, or what you want the nation to think, or what a country needs for development, or what a particular person needs, self building skills. There be any questions about that, like it's basically like different questions, different topics in what we generally talk about. So you have to read it very clearly, because there might be words that we don't know the meaning. So you have to get to know those words properly, read it more than twice, and then answer the questions, because reading is equally difficult than that of writing and listening. Reading will actually have very difficult words in it. So I would say that read the passage as much as you can, but your listening is only audio, and you can listen on only once. So you will be more conscious in that. You'll focus a lot. Reading is that, because reading is also important. Your second section is that you will have about any workplace, that is, you'll have any context about a workplace. Like they might give a job description, a resume or something, or any material for a trainee to learn. For example, like a person who's a civil engineer is going to a particular place to build something, and he gets a description of the entire place. So they will ask questions based on whatever materials they've given. The third section is general reading. So it will give you about, it can either be like, a debate, and you have to answer from that. It's general reading. It might be a bit complex. So this is for reading. I would say all of you to focus a lot in reading and writing. And listening, just you'll be conscious because your audio is heard only once. Speaking, it will be cakewalk for you, because all of us talk in English now, and it will be easy for us. It's just that you have to keep the flow going on. But reading and writing are two things where we might leave it lethargically, but you shouldn't do that. Writing, your use of words is very, very, very important. Reading, you have to read the passage more than once, then only you will understand if you're writing it or not. So, 1 minute. So now I would actually want to tell you about how exactly every university will actually sir, I've completed the presentation, sir. So if in case anyone has doubts about any country or something, you can, how you have to apply for every country or something, you can actually put it in your chat box. And if I can answer it, then it would be very good. It would be nice. If you have about how you have to apply for any country or something, then I can help you. Okay, so I'll just tell the normal differences between GRE or IELTS and all, because I have few more minutes time. I've explained about IELTS, like what are the four sections, what exactly you have to do for the four sections, how you have to improve it. Now I'll tell about GRE. GRE, please do not worry. It will be a very, a pressurizing examination, but GRE is equally important. GRE is like, many universities will only validate your GRE mark, and they will take the math mark from GRE, that is the quantitative mark from GRE, and they will take your English score from your IELTS or TOEFL. Make sure that you are very confident, or you have learned all the shortcuts in GRE quantitative. If you're going for any GRE classes, well and good. As soon as you complete your class, that is, you might be having class for 2 months. As soon as you complete your class, please book your exam and write it. Do not leave a gap between your examination and your course, because once you leave a gap, then it would be very difficult for you to cope up again and do it, because GRE is like, you will remember all the shortcuts. Once you're until you're like this 2 months period, you will remember what exactly the shortcuts are. So once you have to appear for the exam, you will have it in mind, and you can score a lot. Make sure you score at least 160 plus out of 170 in math, because a 160 in math, you can get any top colleges that is in California. As all of you know, California is like the hub of computer science. So the more you score in math, the more possibilities for you to get a good score. IELTS, you score above 8, you get 100 above in TOEFL, or you can score above 100 in TOEFL out of 120. But for GRE, practice a lot. IELTS also you needn't practice that much because it's basic English. It's just that you have to listen to the audios, or you have to listen to the, or you have to just keep reading books or some books to magazines or articles. But if for GRE, practice a lot of tests. When you're booking your GRE test, book for 2 tests that are of zero cost. You can actually practice your tests before you appear for your examinations. Make sure you're well prepared. Don't get scared, because once you get scared, GRE will not be that GRE is going to be like very difficult. Just make sure that you focus a lot on quants than that of verbal in GRE. Verbal will also be easy. Try to learn at least 50 new words per day, because in GRE, if you have, there will be different questions where you have to find the meaning of every word, what will fill in that, and all those words are new words. And honestly, none of us talk English every day in our life. All of us are convenient with what language we talk in our house. So none of us talk in English, and it will be difficult for us to answer the questions. But once you learn 50 words a day, new words a day, and you try to remember them, then it will verbal in GRE will be very easy. So if you have to, you can actually submit your GRE marks to the other universities also, like universities in Australia, Canada, and all. It will be a normal grade point. That's it. They won't, but they will consider only your IELTS mark. Now coming to the application, like how you have to apply for your colleges, universities. Make sure what you want to study for your masters. It can either be data science, it can either be entire computer science, or it can either be artificial intelligence, or it can be any thing related to your it can also be something related to your other studies, like there are for masters for communications or anything. Make sure what you want to study, and make sure that you have good score in all those subjects in your UG studies. So like if you want to do an MBA in abroad, then you need to have 2 years of work experience in your country, and then only you can apply to do MBA in the abroad countries. So if you're doing a master's in data science or artificial intelligence or anything, all you have to do is that your your GPA should be above 7.5, and you have to have no backlogs. That is, you shouldn't have history of arrears. You should have a clear thing in that, and your IELTS score should be above 6.5. These are the three things that you have to get ready for yourself, or from the academic side. And coming to the LOR and SOP, is that LOR is that it's a recommendation. That is why your teacher recommends you to study in the university. So all you have to create is that there are many universities who will get impressed with your SOP and LORs. SOP is a statement of purpose, why you want that you want to study this particular course in that university is a very, very, very important point. So they will actually your SOP will matter in Canada a lot. Many people will actually check if your SOPs are more pleasing, then you have so many chances for them to select you as a candidate, even though your marks aren't that stable. Your SOPs will matter a lot. So make sure that your SOPs are more creative. Do not copy it from the internet. You can take references from the internet, but let it be more of what you want, what you feel about the university, and why you want to do that course. Get to know a lot of words from the internet and type it and make it more creative, but let it be a more heartfelt one, because SOPs matter a lot. So you can have there are so many people who actually help for SOPs. You can actually take help from them. Your LORs is like a letter of recommendation from the university, or if you're doing your work and then going to a university, and then you can get it from the place where you work. So letter of recommendation also matters a lot. Like letter of recommendation will tell how much you have done, what and all you have done. That is whether you've been a part of any competition, or whether you have got good scores, or whether you've been the topper of the university, of anything about you. Letter of recommendation will give an exact idea of how you are according to the teacher's point of view. So LOR and SOP are very important. Make sure that you are ready with it. Before going into any country. So I would suggest that if you're going to any country, please have an entire note of what exactly is there in the country, what the university is about, whether the universities have all the lab facilities, whether the professors in the universities are very good. Like, get to know about these. You might have your cousins or friends in the country. Get in touch with them, ask them why that country, why that university. It will be a very tedious process, it is a long process, but it is better if you do it a year before you go to the country. So I started my process as soon as I completed my third year. So when I was in the middle of third year, so I wrote my examinations and I started searching for universities in the middle of my third year. And by the beginning of final year, I got a university update. I mean, I got the universities. And what you have to do is that you have to choose the universities wisely, get to know a lot of information, and then apply for any university. Talk to people and get to know what you have to do. So it will be easy. IELTS will be easy if you get to read a lot of articles, if you listen to a lot of lectures, and if you talk fluently. That's all. Just have a time strategy when you're writing both your GRE, IELTS, or TOEFL, because time matters a lot. You can't just leave time in that case. You have to keep a time management. So this is the information that I had to give for today's session. Thank you. Sir, complete Pante, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
சார் நீங்க பேசுறது கேட்கல சார்.
You.
இப்ப கேக்குது சார்.
Okay, okay. Thanks a lot, Meenakshi. So,
சார்
ஆக்சுவலா உங்களுக்கு ப்ராஜெக்ட் ரிவ்யூ அந்த இதெல்லாம் இருக்கு, பட் இருந்தாலும் யூ டன் அ கிரேட் ஜாப். தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் எவ்ரிதிங். தேங்க்ஸ் a lot.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Our CSA department, thanks to Meenakshi. Okay, thanks a lot. Just
Okay.
leave the meeting. Thank you, thank you. Students, please leave the meeting. Thank you. Students, please leave.